What is up, y'all? It's your boy SSG Coop back at you with another video. So I've been away for a little minute though, but we decided to do something a little different tonight. Know what I'm saying? So we had a request uh from someone to do our first analysis video. We've been saying we were gonna get one of these out for the longest, and we finally actually are gonna do this. So, yeah, just to let y'all know, I did see the Elimination Chamber. I did see Roman and Sammy in the main event. Actually, the whole entire Elimination show was pretty good. I actually think that was one of the more, if not the best show WWE has put on since Triple H has taken over. And I can easily give Roman and Sammy 5 stars, and that was the best title defense Roman has had since he's been champion. But that's not what this is about. I also did see Battle in the Valley, and we're not gonna get into that right now. Today's video is we're gonna be doing an analysis and putting a grade on our tier and putting this person on where do they grade and where do they rank on our tier list. And that performer is the one Miss Io Shirai, the Joshi Judas, the genius of the sky. A lot of, I see Io Shirai has gained a lot of attention of American fans, but there are some haters that actually says like she's boring or she's just like every other Japanese girl that wrestles, blah blah blah. We ain't got time for that crap. But this is what I think about Io Shirai and where I view her work when her past work to her current work. We're gonna go through that. We're gonna try to go to this in the best detail that we know how to do, and we're gonna go through it. So we got Io Shirai from the land of the rising sun. I caught on to Io Shirai back in 2015, and this was around when Stardom was. I ain't gonna say it was just starting, but this is where it really caught my attention, and I happen to see. I'm not gonna lie. I do when I'm about to say I do it no justice. Go and watch Io Shirai's run in Stardom. The woman put on incredible matches. And it's like when I look at the comparison to then and now, she's heavily watered down now she's been working for WWE because her moveset was a lot more meaner. I actually edited her moveset on this crappy game right here to how it was before she joined WWE. Now, I've seen her wrestle her own sister, Mio Shirai. In 2015, she had wars with Kairi Sane. I believe at the end of 2015 or going into the beginning of 2015, the New Year's climax. She had a fantastic match with Mako Satomura. Great matches with Momo Watanabe. Good matches with Mayu Iwatani, who she eventually formed a tag team called Thunder Rock, and they're the longest reigning Goddess of Stardom champions still to this day. I've also seen her team up with Tam Nakano in a ridiculous, and I'm talking ridiculous, barbed wire match. If y'all want the link to see the highlights to that video, please let me know. This stuff is ridiculous. But I grew to ultimately love what Io Shirai was capable of and putting in. I believe around the time of 2017 going into 2018, Dave Meltzer had put out that along with Io, Kairi and Mayu Iwatani are three of the greatest in-ring performers on the planet. And it's hard to argue with that. After I've seen Io's incredible work, I can't deny that. I can't deny that. So I believe before she made the jump, because she was supposed to come over to the WWE with Kairi Hojo at the same time. But I think injury had derailed her a little bit, and she still had a few obligations to Stardom she had to fulfill before making the jump to America and joining the WWE. Now, she eventually joined the WWE in the second Mae Young Classic. Now, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, as impressed as I was with how they showed her, I knew she wasn't winning that tournament. and the fact that when you first introduced her to the NXT WWE universe, you introduced her as Queen's Quest Io Shirai. She came out with her mask. She was doing the Queen's Quest pose, pointing at the mask, wearing her traditional joshi garments and everything. But she quickly got over because people was like, dang, this woman is good. Like 5'1", 117-pound Io Shirai. Now, on my bucket list, she checks off everything I would look for in a female professional wrestler. She has a great look. She's intense. She can deliver on both sides of the coin, whether you want her to play a baby face or a heel. So we're gonna go with the whole how it started out. So she gets all the way to the finals of the Mae Young Classic of the second Mae Young Classic. It was won previously by Kairi Sane. I knew right off the jump she wasn't gonna win it, and it was reported that Tegan Knox was actually scheduled to win the second tournament, but injury derailed her, so they ended up giving it to Toni Storm. Now, this is one thing that kind of disappointed me was when they announced the finals with Io and Toni Storm. Me basing off seeing them battle in Japan and seeing what they were capable of doing over there. I'm thinking, oh man, this is gonna be a great match. But there's two things they did wrong with it. One, they put it on the Evolution pay-per-view from 2018. WWE's first ever women's pay-per-view. They put it on that show. I would have actually saved that match and put it on a takeover. Whatever takeover was coming around that time of the year, I would have easily slid the Mae Young Classic Finals onto an NXT takeover, where I actually think the match quality would have been better. Not saying the match they had at Evolution was bad, but I think it was heavily watered down, and they didn't want to take the thunder from Becky and Charlotte or Ronda and Nikki. I believe the match went less than 10 minutes. Correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say the match maybe went about maybe 8-9 minutes for the Mae Young Classic Finals, with Toni Storm ultimately defeating Io Shirai. So after the Mae Young Classic, we start seeing Io on television a little bit more. You just introducing to the crowd, getting the people familiar with her. She's wowing everybody with her dynamic aerial offense, her ferocious strikes, and her remarkable technical prowess in the ring. Now the whole thing was, I didn't see like how she wasn't like over, but people did appreciate seeing her. But it was a slight turn of events in 2018 which escalated Io Shirai to a top position where you wanted to see her more than ever. And this was when I put this in a comment on a video from a guy who does recaps and reviews. Gets star ratings, and I believe he does championship reign recaps. And I put it in this in 2018, the second most compelling story coming out of the WWE as far as on the women's side. Of course you have the rise of Becky Lynch story, was Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler. Their rivalry literally went through the entire time Io Shirai was there, just based off of a tournament. Just based off of a tournament. And this is around the time they had established the WWE Women's Tag Team titles, and they paired Kyrie and Io up as the Sky Pirates. I was all for that, and this is around the time where both Sasha Banks and Bayley were the current WWE Tag Team Women's Champions. And I was like, if you give me Sasha and Bayley versus Io and Kyrie at a takeover for these tag team titles, take my freaking money. But that never happened. But what they did do, they did showcase them as a tag team. And around this time, Shayna was still, it was still messing with Kyrie. On that same Evolution show, Kyrie and Shayna had a match for the NXT Women's title. Now, this feud, I love that feud so much because it ultimately brung Io. It started the long-term booking of Io Shirai. So around, I believe that was Takeover New York, still one of the best takeovers that was ever produced. During the build of that show, I forgot what exact moment it was, but I believe Io Shirai had cleared the ring after I believe Kyrie had got attacked, and she looked at that NXT Women's Championship and she admired it so much she completely forgot about her best friend Kyrie sitting on the ring. Kyrie was looking out the outside, looking like, "Hey, what about me? I just got my butt kicked, and here you are swooning at the title." And ultimately, that led to the fatal four way at Takeover New York, which one of the most impressive interactions out of that whole match was seeing Kyrie and Io go at it. Now, I believe around that time, before that match happened, they were doing that on the house shows when NXT had house shows. And I was like, I'm kind of upset we never got an actual Io and Kyrie one-on-one situation in NXT, especially after knowing what they did in 2015 with each other and the wars they had in Stardom. I'm like, dude, if y'all just go back and do your homework, look at what these two girls can do together as in-ring opponents. Come on now, it's money. So one of the most impressive spots in Takeover New York, I believe I believe I said this in my review there. One of the most impressive spots was Bianca Belair literally hoisting both Kyrie and Io up for the kiss of death and dropping both of them. Now, when they were decided to, I don't like using the word promote because when they decided to call Kyrie Sane up to the main roster, they wrote her off as a way. They wrote her off by Shayna Baszler and the other two horsewomen, Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir, to brutally assault Kyrie, and they sent her on her way. That instant set off something in Io, and I used to laugh my butt off at this when I used to see it. They used to show like I guess the camera footage that's in the performance center, and they would show like Kyrie, and then not Kyrie. They would show Shayna, Jessamine, and Marina, training, and Kyrie saying and Kyrie and Io Shirai is legit coming at them with kendo sticks, beating the crap out of them, and it ultimately led to a really big story that Io wants to avenge her best friend for her best friend being humiliated like that in the performance center and ultimately being sent up to the main roster. It infused something in her where she was just going ballistic to the point Shayna said, "You know what? Okay, we're gonna do this. Take over 25. See you there." And the match itself was okay, but after the match it was better. Shayna retained, tapped Io out with with the cocaine clutch, the Karafuda clutch, whatever it's called. It's just a sleeper hold. And while Shayna is celebrating in the ring, Shayna. Good lord, I'm discombobulated this evening. I apologize. Io attacks her with a kendo stick. Candice LeRae, who also had her issues with Shayna Baszler, comes and throws Io a chair. Io moonsaults on Shayna with the chair, holding the chair. It was a very good spot. And I believe about a couple of weeks later, Io once again gets another opportunity to face Shayna for the NXT Women's title, and it was in a cage match. It was in a cage match. Now, everything that happened in this match up to the last couple minutes was brilliant. I love the ending as far as the storytelling goes. Shayna is like her head is like halfway out of the ring, and Io starts closing the cage door on Shayna's head repeatedly to the point where Shayna just slumped and fell out of the ring and won the title. Candice LeRae had also played a part in this. I believe she did a cross body off of the cage, and because she was still in the cage, Io, frustrated at the fact that she couldn't beat Shayna, she couldn't, avenge Kyrie, she goes off and drops Candice LeRae onto a chair with a brainbuster. Very brutal looking brainbuster. Ultimately turning heel. And I think the week after, the week after that, or the 2 weeks after that, Io Shirai just said, "I don't care about any of you." I don't know if it's some reason it just pissed her off, and I'm like, okay. After that, she started wearing darker. She started wearing darker clothes. She started wearing her hair darker. Basically, what I got out of that is Triple H must have took a look at Lucha Underground and seen the Black Lotus Triad group and said, you know what, we're gonna use that. We're gonna use that. Now, ultimately, what they didn't know is they made Io more likable after this alleged heel turn. She wrestled as a heel. She did a lot of heelish stuff, but people really didn't boo her. It was really hard to boo her after one the promo and the attack. So going into that, going forward with that, Candice LeRae of course had a problem with that, and they had still to this day. I hold this match at a standing. Io Shirai and Candice LeRae had a match at Takeover Toronto 2. And this match is one of the best NXT women's matches ever produced, and it is the best NXT women's match that didn't involve the championship. These women went nuts, and the crowd ate it all up. And I believe Io won with using the Koji clutch. This is when she really started using the Koji clutch as a finisher instead of the moonsault. This match was epic, though. I do it no justice. If you have not seen this match and you want to see some real physical women's wrestling, go and watch this. And I've been saying this for long. I was like, you can put Candice LeRae in the ring with anybody. Candice LeRae is one of the toughest women in the entire WWE. So later on after that, they slowly started to creep Io in different spots in there. She had a really decent match with Mia Yim. It was a regular wrestling match. It had to be about 15 minutes. And then ultimately, joining the heels in War Games, in which she did probably the most ridiculous looking spot of the night. This was in Chicago. This was Takeover Chicago 3, War Games 3. I was in attendance for this show, and this was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. The woman puts a garbage can over her head while standing on top of the War Games cage, and she jumps off. It was ridiculous. I can't even describe what I seen, but what I know I heard. Now we're gonna rewind prior to that, because I did a video on that also when it came out. When I seen Io Shirai and Mia Yim battle for the War Game advantage in a ladder match was brutal. Io Shirai drop kicked the crap out of Mia Yim, out of a ladder into Mia Yim's face. Mia Yim's face was leaking blood everywhere. Mia Yim took a massive beating in that match. I think at the end of the match she got dropped off a ladder through another ladder. I thought the woman was dead. And Io Shirai ended up winning the match and getting the team advantage for her team, and she decided to go in first during War Games. Now the thing was how over she was when she came to Chicago. She was so over. The fans chanted her name. They turned up when she decided she's going into the War Games cage first. It was a spectacle. It was a spectacle, and it's like the fans inadvertently turned Io Shirai back into a babyface. Now, coming out of that, going into 2020, around when the pandemic hit, I read around this time Io Shirai wasn't exactly happy here in America and happy wrestling here. I had to take all this time away from her family, from her at then fiance Evil, who sucks. Evil sucks. Just want to let y'all know that. And I believe she asked for a couple of things. She wanted to wrestle Charlotte Flair. Around this time, Charlotte Flair had just defeated Rhea Ripley to become the NXT Women's Champion, which was the wrong decision. And they end up having a triple threat match at the first pandemic pay-per-view, NXT pay-per-view, in your house. Match was great. I believe Io jumped off of the in your house sign on there. But the only thing I didn't like about the match was the match ending. I believe Charlotte Flair had Rhea Ripley in the figure 8. And Io Shirai climbed up and moonsaulted on them while their legs were tangled together and pinned Rhea Ripley. Why couldn't Charlotte have taken the fall if she was already dropping the title and going back to the main roster anyway? That's the only problem I had with the match, but I wasn't mad that Io won it. The only thing, and I did have a minor problem. Io Shirai won the NXT Women's Championship in front of absolutely nobody because it was pandemic. So they was in the performance center in an empty gymnasium. They gave the fireworks, the big confetti. Triple H came out, gave his point of approval, and it's just the smile she had from winning that title. It never went away. And it's just I'm like okay, I can't wait to see how this is gonna be booked. And even for a pandemic era, she put in work. It's a lot during that pandemic era. I give a lot of people props for putting on some solid in-ring performances. Jon Moxley was a pandemic champion. Hikaru Shida was a pandemic champion. Drew McIntyre won the WWE title at WrestleMania from Brock Lesnar in front of nobody, and he put in some excellent in-ring work. Io Shirai is also in that bracket. I think and now we go into this 300 plus day title reign of Io Shirai. So look at the long term booking they started there. Came up short in the Mae Young Classic. Failed at the attempt to get the title from the person who um assaulted her best friend and former and tag team partner, all the way to a pandemic happening to finally get the gold. She finally got the title and put in work with it. I think her first title defense was against Tegan Knox, and it was on NXT television. Match went about 18 minutes. Really good match. I think after that then it went from that to Dakota Kai. Another good match. It's like I can't even go through if I had to go through the whole championship reign. She did not put on any bad matches around that time when she had the title. Toni Storm, Mercedes Martinez, and Toni Storm in a triple threat match. Two battles with Candice LeRae, Takeover 31, Halloween Havoc in a Tables, Ladders, and Scares match. And it's like she complimented the title so well, and it's like this is where she should be. She should be at the top of the divisions, and it's like she's that good. And then she even shows that, and when she wrestles, she has this cocky little brash attitude about herself because she knows she's good. She knows she can. She knows she's more skilled than a majority of the women that are in that locker room. So after the after another War Games, which her team lost, and she was pinned by Raquel Gonzalez. Raquel Gonzalez ultimately defeated Io Shirai to win the NXT Women's Championship. Whole time I already kept it in mind because I didn't even know what they had in mind for the NXT Women's title. But I knew it was like after that, that is the last time we have seen any relevance for the NXT Women's title. She's the last wrestler to make that title relevant. Raquel did nothing with it. Who beat Raquel? Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose can't wrestle a 3-star match. Just like that, and she held it for almost 400 days. And they had her go over people that were way more skilled and talented than she was. So, Io Shirai eventually gets called up to the main roster along and into a group that is led by Bayley that also features the rehired Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai was fired around the post-pandemic era when they was really start doing shows, but both of them showed up along with Bayley at SummerSlam. Now, my main problem is this. I didn't mind the name change. They changed the name to Io Sky. I'm like, okay, big freaking difference. I don't care. But my main problem was y'all booked her to look like a loser. She like Damage Control are collectively a group of losers. On television, they haven't done anything relevant to signify themselves that they are a threat whatsoever. And I think this is a very big disservice to Miss Io Shirai's talents, because seeing what she did in NXT during a pandemic, and you're telling me you can't book her as a single with now you have fans there? And I don't know, I gotta remember most of the main roster people don't watch NXT, so they probably are not familiar with Io. But at the same time, putting her in this group does her no justice. She doesn't mesh well with Bayley. She doesn't mesh well with Dakota, even though that's now her tag team partner, and they're the women's tag team champions. I would just like to see bring me back the EO that brung her to the table. Bring back to when it was just her, when she was this Joshi Judas, when she was the the genius of the sky. You know, go back and they need to display her what Meltzer and what a lot of people believe she is, one of the best professional wrestlers on the planet. Because I guarantee you that if I can definitely see if Io Shirai decides to leave the WWE and go back to Stardom, I or go back to just to wrestle in Japan in general, you can't tell me Io Shirai as the IWGP Women's Champion is not cash. Y'all can't tell me that. Honest to God, I can't. And that would be a big loss for anybody for the WWE to let her be able to walk. So I don't know like how she feels now about this main roster run. If she's looking at this main roster and looking at stuff on Peacock and when she was in NXT, I'm like, I bet she misses that time when she was able, to compete at a high level and make some relevance of herself. Because right now she's absolutely just no. And I'm also, this wasn't a title match, but I did enjoy this match at the Great American Bash of the pandemic. She wrestled Sasha Banks, who was one half of the women's tag team titles and championships and champions at that time. They had a really great match. They had a Rams like she can put on bangers. They don't understand. One of her last title defenses against Rhea Ripley, dang near 5-star match. Match was excellent. The woman herself she's excellent. She's one of the best women you got employed there. And I advise you start using her like she is, because I just can't bear to stand to see her on television in this loser predicament as a heel in a group when she can do bad by herself. She can do bad by herself. And that's what they need to do. She can literally crush anybody they have right now on Monday Night Raw. They had her wrestle Bianca Belair for 20 minutes about maybe a couple of months ago, and she lost. Io Shirai and loser don't go in the same sentence. This is something that don't resonate with me, man. So, if I am making a tier list of if she was to where would she rank on my tier list? Io Shirai is easily top tier. She's an A. She has everything you would want out of a leader of a women's division. She'll make anybody who's in the ring with her look good. Her herself, she's gonna look good. She knows she's good, so she's not ever gonna dwindle down and water herself down to a point where no one's gonna care or no one's gonna care. And right now, she's at that point on in this whatever they got them doing on Monday Night Raw, and I want it to stop. It's got to stop. Y'all got to do something with Io Shirai, man. It's ridiculous. You got this talented woman on your roster, and the best thing you ever is in a group. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me, and they really watered down her move set. Cause if I recall, she used to do a sit out tombstone in Stardom. She was way more vicious in Stardom. I'm just thinking about all the matches I've seen, which I've seen her do some vicious stuff. I think she had a real good match against Kagetsu. It was that was and it's brutal. She's just brutal. But now she's become brutal to watch on the main roster. Monday Night Raw sucks in general, and it's not helping her out. It's like I don't see her getting any gratification from being in this role she's in. And so what is they? Okay, cool. What about send her to back to NXT? Why? There's no competition down there for her. Who's she gonna compete with? Who's gonna be somebody? Is it someone down there she's equally like wants to wrestle down there? No. I think the last thing they had her do was to put over Zoe Stark, who I believe they were tag team champions at one point. And even right now, it did nothing for Zoe Stark. Zoe Stark had to eventually turn heel to become a relevant type of figure. She was great in the ring, but it's just she had no character. We didn't know who she was. But Io Shirai is definitely one of my favorite female performers in the game right now because I know what she's capable of, and I know it's matches that can be made down there. It's matches that can be that's legit made, and she can show you what she can really do. But we just gotta wait and see. I'm like, come on, Paul, you gotta get to work, man. You gotta remember. Hey, I'm like, hey, remember her? The last woman. She's the last woman that NXT Women's Championship gave value to. She gave value to that, value to the title, and that value was not passed on. Not with Raquel, not with Mandy. I don't know what they're gonna do with Roxanne Perez. I have no idea. Do I expect her to go on a 300, 400 day run like AEO Shirai or a Mandy Rose? I don't think so. But anyway, y'all, that's gonna be it for right now. That is the EO Shirai analysis, man. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe, and turn that bell on for more notifications. If you're a fan or if you're not a fan of Io Shirai, tell me what you think about her. If you think she sucks, let me know, and I'm just gonna probably treat the crap out of you, like, cause you're probably an idiot. You're probably an Alexa Bliss mark who doesn't know what a real female professional wrestler looks like. But if you think Io Shirai is dope and deserves better, and you agree with me, you know, put that in the comments section. Hit the thumbs up, share it to your boys. They're like, man, this dude thinks just like I do, man. Io Shirai deserves us so much more, and hopefully we can get that to her. We can get her to that. Hopefully maybe a year or two down, you break up Damage Control. Maybe she can win a Royal Rumble or a Money in the Bank or something like that, and get her the opportunity that I believe that she needs. Cause you don't want to let her walk out of the company. I'll definitely say that. And if let's imagine if she's now comfortable in America and she leaves WWE, you really think you want to send her to AEW? I already the AEW fans will definitely pop heavy for it because they know who she is. They know they definitely they will know who she is, and they will want to see her in a major program with some of the girls down there. But that's it, y'all. That's the EO Shirai compilation and the EO Shirai analysis. This is our first one. If you watch the video and you would like me to do another one on a professional wrestler, put that down, put the name down, and I'll try and I'm gonna do what I can to get that one out to you. Right now, I would really feel comfortable if you send me female professional wrestlers, cause it's easy to do the male professional wrestlers, but I really want to talk about the females that really don't get talked about, cause the females ain't exactly the stars in the show. I said that with a quote, but at the same time, um, I would like to give my criticism on and on some of them. So if you want me to do a Becky Lynch one, put that in the comments. You want me to do someone that's in the indies and the indies, if it's somebody I'm familiar with, I'll do it. If you want somebody to do something from Stardom, I can definitely do those. I like Stardom, still right now the best women's promotion and the best women's roster on the planet. So yeah, if you got any ideas, or if you really want me to do a video for you with your favorite female performer, drop their names in the comment section below, and I'm gonna get right to you. But that's gonna be it for this video, man. If you missed any other video, click on the channel and check something out. I know I haven't been persistent in this. There's a lot of weird stuff that's been going down, so I haven't had the appropriate time to like record anything. So we wanted to get this one out just because we seen this as a request. I hope I get more requests of these because I actually had a lot of fun doing this and being able to, discuss one particular wrestler and let everything I say mostly be about them, ranging from their long-term story to, stuff you should watch. So, like, if you are a main roster fan and you see Damage Control and you ain't familiar with EO Scott, I encourage you to go back to 2015, 2016 and watch her Stardom run and watch what the woman is capable of doing, and you will not be disappointed. If you don't think it's good, I don't know what to tell you. You probably need to stop watching professional wrestling altogether and find a new hobby, because I can't think of a person by name who would say Io Shirai ain't all that, and she is. She's fantastic. Best moonsault in the game. Best moonsault in the game. She does it so flawlessly. But anyway, I'm Coop, y'all, and I'm up out of here. See y'all in the next video.